What if I told you that the very thing you're probably spending like 50 or 60 hours a week trying to achieve is, well, mathematically and psychologically engineered to make you feel isolated and anxious?
It sounds kind of crazy when you put it like that.
It totally does.
Yeah.
But welcome to today's deep dive. We have a really massive stack of research, sociological studies, and, philosophical texts in front of us.
Oh, yeah, a very large stack.
Right. And our mission today is to essentially deconstruct this incredibly pervasive human drive, which is the pursuit of status.
And it is pervasive, like, everywhere you look.
Everywhere. And we're going to look at a pretty surprising, honestly unanimous conclusion drawn by all this data.
Yeah, it's pretty wild how much the sources agree on this.
They really do. The consensus is basically that status is an overrated, rigged game. And it actually functions more like a heavy tax on your well-being than, a true asset.
It really does. I mean, if you look closely at the modern digital and corporate landscape, we have essentially terraformed our society into an industrial factory for the ego.
An industrial factory for the ego. Wow.
Yeah, that's really what it is. We treat status as the ultimate currency for happiness, We operate under this very deep, rarely questioned delusion.
Right, that if we just get enough prestige or the right job title.
Or enough visibility on social media, yeah.
Right.
We think we'll finally secure the respect and belonging that we really crave.
But the reality is different.
Oh, completely. If you look at the mechanics of how status actually works, it guarantees the exact opposite outcome.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because to understand why the game is rigged against us, we really have to precisely define what status actually is.
Exactly. And maybe more importantly, what it isn't.
Right. Status is entirely relational. It is an external measure. It doesn't exist independently in nature.
Yeah.
It only exists in the minds of other people.
And that is the core paradox right there. We treat status like it's a tangible thing we own.
Like a house or a car or something.
Right, exactly. But sociologists in these texts refer to it as a borrowed asset.
A borrowed asset.
Yeah. And because it only lives in the minds of a fickle jury. I mean, other people who are distracted, biased, and, constantly changing their standards, it's incredibly fragile.
Fragile is a great word for it.
Mm.
The research also calls it a leaky container, which, is such a brilliant visual.
It really is.
Because it signals that you possess things like respect or security, but it doesn't actually hold them reliably at all.
No, it leaks them constantly.
If I was thinking about it like this, actually, if I spend a decade learning to speak a new language, or, developing my patience, that's like having solid gold bars in my own personal vault.
You own that.
Right. I own that. No one can confiscate my ability to speak Spanish.
No, they can.
But treating status as wealth, it's like keeping your entire life savings in a bizarre foreign currency.
Oh, I like that.
And the exchange rate is just constantly being manipulated by a crowd of strangers on the internet.
That is a phenomenal analogy.
Thanks. It just seems so stressful.
It is. And if you think about the psychological safety of that arrangement, it's virtually non-existent. You are entirely at the mercy of the market's mood.
Which changes like the wind.
Literally. When sociologists talk about outsourcing your self-worth, this is exactly what they mean.
You're handing the keys over.
You're handing the keys to your happiness over to an audience. And you're basically accepting the fine print, which is that your value can be recalled by the lender at any moment.
And without any notice.
Exactly. No notice at all.
But let me push back on that fragility for a second.
Sure.
Because while I totally get that public opinion is fickle, some people seem permanently high status. Like, think of a wildly successful CEO.
Or an A-list celebrity, yeah.
Right. They don't seem like they're walking on eggshells every single day. Isn't there a point where the asset stops being borrowed and actually becomes permanent?
Well, you would think so, but the data actually shows otherwise. Status is hyper-context dependent.
Meaning what, exactly?
Yeah. Meaning it does not travel well. Like, you could be a titan in the boardroom, an absolute master of your universe where everyone just defers to you.
Sure.
But then you leave work, you go to the school gate to pick up your kid, and you're completely anonymous.
Oh, right. You're just another parent.
Exactly. You're at the bottom of the hierarchy in the PTA.
That's hilarious, but very true.
Or just consider how quickly cultural tastes shift. A single public misstep, a corporate reorganization, or just a new generation deciding your entire industry is obsolete.
Boom.
Boom, yes. It can dissolve decades of status building literally overnight.
Wow.
Because the foundation is entirely built on other people's perceptions, it breeds this permanent underlying dread. You were never actually secure.
Which, I mean, that forces a pretty massive question,
It
right?
does.
If relying on this fickle jury just generates a baseline of anxiety and dread, why do we do it?
Right.
I mean, why are human brains so obsessively hooked on climbing the social ladder? If it's a rigged game, why don't we just collectively agree to stop playing?
Well, because our ancient biology is basically violently colliding with modern technology.
Okay, biology. Tell me more about that.
In our ancestral environments, status wasn't a vanity project. It wasn't a luxury. It was a literal survival mechanism.
Like life or death.
Literally life or death. If you were in a hunter-gatherer tribe of 150 people and you had higher status, you had better access to resources.
So food and shelter.
Yes, the most nutrient-dense food, the safest sleeping spots, and optimal mates. Your brain evolved to aggressively crave status because dropping to the bottom of the tribal hierarchy meant you might literally not survive the winter.
Wow, okay. So it's hardwired. I hear that, but I want to play devil's advocate here for a minute.
Go for it.
Survival instincts aside, let's talk about modern utility, right?
Yeah.
Reaching the top actually feels amazing, doesn't it?
Sure, it does.
Like when you get that big promotion, it's not just an ego boost. It actually pays the mortgage. And when you nail a project and get publicly recognized, there is a literal rush of dopamine. It feels incredible. You can't tell me that's entirely empty.
What's fascinating here is the underlying neurological mechanism of that feeling.
Okay.
Specifically, it's a concept called hedonic adaptation.
Hedonic adaptation.
Right. You are absolutely right about the dopamine rush. It is real and it is powerful, but it is biologically designed to be incredibly brief.
Wait, brief. Why?
Because the human brain does not want you to rest on your laurels. It downregulates your dopamine receptors almost immediately after a victory.
Oh, wow. So you adapt to it.
Exactly. So let's say you get that massive promotion to vice president. For about 2 weeks, you feel like you are literally on top of the world.
King of the castle, yeah.
But then your peer group instantly shifts.
Right. You walk into the new executive dining room,
Yeah.
and suddenly you aren't the hotshot anymore.
Precisely. The people you used to look up to and envy are now just your regular peers. And suddenly, your gaze inevitably drifts up to the senior vice presidents. The brain basically resets your baseline to 0.
That sounds exhausting.
It is. You find yourself at the very bottom of a brand new, much more competitive, and honestly, a much more expensive ladder.
It's like playing a video game, where every time you finally level up, the game secretly drains your health bar back down to 50%.
That's a great way to put it.
Like you haven't actually gained any permanent safety, the environment just got harder, and you have to keep grinding.
That is exactly the evolutionary mismatch the sources talk about.
Right.
We have this ancient biological drive to secure our position, but because status is what economists call a positional good.
A positional good.
Yeah, meaning its value is entirely relative. For you to rise, someone else must be below you.
Oh, so it's a zero-sum game.
Exactly. It creates a moving goalpost. And social media and modern corporate culture have gamified this into a 24-hour-a-day, publicly visible competition.
With billions of people.
With billions of people. The finish line literally does not exist. The concept of enough is a total phantom.
Man.
You are running a race designed by your own neurochemistry to be completely unwinnable.
And because that dopamine hit fades so incredibly fast, you are suddenly forced to sprint just to maintain your new baseline.
Yes, just to stay in place.
And that sprint isn't free.
Right.
This is where things get really insidious in the reading. You start paying a massive hidden cost that psychologists refer to as the maintenance tax.
Yes. The maintenance tax. It is arguably the most destructive element of chasing status.
Really? The most destructive.
I think so. Maintaining a high-status position carries just a staggering cognitive load. It demands continuous, exhausting impression management.
Right, it's not just doing your actual job well anymore, it's the performance of your job.
Exactly.
The performance.
It's the humble bragging on LinkedIn. It's carefully curating a vacation on Instagram to make sure it looks aspirational, even if you are absolutely miserable and fighting with your spouse the entire trip.
We've all seen those posts. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's making sure you are seen at the right industry events, wearing the right brands, nodding at the right inside jokes.
And every single hour you spend polishing that image, every ounce of cognitive energy you burn, mapping the power dynamics of a room to make sure you align with the right people.
Yeah.
That is energy stolen from what psychologists call the one thing.
The one thing.
The deep, meaningful work, the internal mastery, and the genuine passions that actually yield lasting satisfaction.
Wow.
You are systematically sacrificing substance just to keep the signal broadcasting.
There is a vivid, almost haunting phrase in the text that describes this. It calls it a permanent audition with no closing night.
Oh, that's such a perfect description.
Right. Just think about the sheer exhaustion of living that way. A permanent audition.
It's totally draining.
But beyond just being tired, there is a deeper tragedy here, I think.
What's the...
Well, if you are constantly managing what you wear, what you say, and what you post, just to fit into the specific mold of whatever rank you're trying to achieve, don't you eventually shave off all your own quirks?
Absolutely.
Your own instincts? Like, don't you slowly lose track of who you actually are?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, what you are describing is the total erosion of authenticity.
Total erosion.
Yeah, and the sociological data is very explicit about this progression. When you chase status, you must conform to the values of the hierarchy you are climbing.
You don't have a choice.
Right. You have to suppress the unique, messy, complex, contradictory parts of your humanity to fit a standardized template of success.
Yeah.
You basically turn into a curated version of a person.
And when you're a curated version of a person,
Mhm.
I have to imagine that breeds a massive, suffocating amount of imposter syndrome.
Oh, off the charts.
Because deep down in your quietest moments, you know the applause you're getting isn't actually for you.
No, it's for the avatar you created.
Exactly. It's for the character you're playing.
Exactly. This performative burden leads to intense status anxiety. You aren't actually enjoying the view from your position at the top. You are desperately diverting all your mental energy into protecting the facade.
Just playing defense all the time.
Right. You live in terror that someone is going to pull back the curtain and realize you are just an actor reading a script.
Man. And this erosion of your true, authentic self doesn't just hollow you out internally.
No, it has external consequences too.
Yeah, it actually sabotages the very thing most of us are pursuing status to get in the first place, which is human connection.
Yes.
Because if you are operating day to day as a curated persona, who are people actually befriending?
Well, I were befriending the rank, not the person.
The rank.
Yeah. Status acts as a formidable, almost impenetrable barrier to genuine connection. Sociologists use the term golden isolation to describe this phenomenon.
Golden isolation. That sounds incredibly lonely.
It is, because when you lead with your wealth or your impressive titles or your massive follower count, you inevitably attract people who are drawn to the position.
Right. They want access.
Yes. Access or leverage.
Or they just want the reflected glory of standing next to someone the world deems important,
Yes. And it creates an incredibly painful reality for high-status individuals. It becomes nearly impossible to distinguish between a genuine friend and an opportunist.
Now, I have to stop you there because the texts make a really bold claim about this that sounds incredibly cynical.
Okay, let's hear it.
The claim is that if you strip away the title, the followers, or the bank account, the vast majority of those relationships just evaporate into thin air. Are people really that shallow? Do the connections just vanish? It's kind of hard to believe we're all just navigating a purely transactional world.
I know it sounds cynical, but it's a structural reality.
Structural?
Yeah, you have to look at the opposing mechanics of true connection versus the mechanics of maintaining status.
Okay, explain that.
Well, genuine human connection requires two fundamental ingredients: vulnerability and equality.
Okay, vulnerability and equality.
Right. You have to be willing to expose your flaws, and you have to see the other person as an equal partner. But maintaining high status requires the exact opposite.
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
It requires you to project invulnerability to look strong, and it inherently relies on inequality. I mean, the very definition of status is that you are positioned above someone else.
Wow. Okay, that makes perfect sense. The very tools you use to construct and protect your status are structurally opposed to the tools you need to build a real friendship.
Precisely. Because the foundation of the relationship is built on a power dynamic rather than mutual vulnerability, it is inherently shallow.
It has no roots.
Exactly. So the moment the external symbols of success are removed, say you lose the election, your company goes under, your platform gets banned, the utility of the relationship disappears.
And the people naturally scatter.
Yes. It's a devastating discovery for many people who thought they were universally loved, only to realize their title was loved.
That is incredibly sobering. So, if the societal hype we've all been sold is entirely backward here,
Which it is.
right? If society promises that prestige delivers respect and security, but the psychological reality is that it delivers anxiety, imposter syndrome, and golden isolation, how do we step off this nightmare ride?
We have to actively untangle the height from human reality.
Okay.
Society blasts this message that high status equals universal respect. But if you look at the people you actually admire in your own life, genuine respect always comes from character and utility.
Not their job title.
Right. And society says prestige equals joy. But the data shows that human joy reliably stems from meaning, autonomy, and deep equal bonds.
So what does this all mean for the listener?
Well,
Like, if you are listening to this on your morning commute, gearing up for a big presentation or trying to hit a sales quota, does realizing that status is a rigged, unwinnable game mean you should just abandon all ambition? Are we telling you to stop trying to succeed at work, throw your phone in the river, and just become a hermit living in the woods?
this raises an important question, and the philosophy here is very nuanced.
Okay.
It does not advocate for giving up ambition or slacking off. You don't have to be a hermit.
Good to know.
Instead, it advocates for changing the target of your ambition. There's a concept rooted in Stoicism of treating certain things as a preferred indifferent.
A preferred indifferent. Okay, I like
Go
that.
practical.
Meaning, I'd prefer to have a nice title and be recognized for my work, but I am fundamentally indifferent to it because my core identity doesn't collapse if I lose it.
That is exactly it. Status becomes a nice byproduct of living a good life, but it is a terrible primary objective.
Right.
The most admired, resilient, and content people in society don't build their identities on the shifting sands of public opinion.
They don't use the borrowed asset.
Exactly. They build on what we might call unbreakable foundations.
Unbreakable foundations. So instead of the leaky container, what does the solid bedrock actually look like?
It looks like a relentless pursuit of internal mastery.
Internal mastery.
Yes. These people care deeply about the things they know to be true about themselves when they are entirely alone in an empty room.
Who they are when no one is watching.
Exactly. Their virtue, their specific skills, their integrity. They pursue deep bonds based on shared values and mutual trust, rather than networking for an advantage.
Yeah.
And above all, they focus on competence and contribution.
It's the difference between desperately signaling your worth with a bullhorn and actually being consistently useful to people around you.
Yes. When you focus your energy on solving complex problems, supporting your community, and mastering your craft purely for the joy of the craft itself, something amazing happens.
What's that?
You generate earned respect.
Earned respect.
And earned respect is entirely different from status. Earned respect is sturdy, it is sustainable.
It's the gold in your own vault.
Exactly. It doesn't require a maintenance tax because you aren't faking anything. It simply arrives as a quiet, durable side effect of a life well lived rather than a loud, desperate performance.
That brings us full circle perfectly.
I think so, yeah.
We started by looking at status as a fragile, borrowed asset. Like a living room floor made of strangers' opinions that can collapse at any moment.
Terrifying, really.
Completely.
Uh,
We unpack the exhausting maintenance tax it demands, where you were constantly auditioning for a fickle jury, slowly losing your authentic self and ending up in golden isolation.
and the antidote to all of that anxiety is recognizing that true worth is intrinsic.
Right.
It cannot be granted by a crowd, and therefore it cannot be taken away by one.
Exactly. You step off the treadmill by replacing that hollow pursuit of visibility with the robust bedrock of genuine character, intrinsic mastery, and authentic connection.
Mm-hmm.
You stop worrying about the paint color on the front door and you start pouring real concrete.
Which is an incredibly liberating shift in perspective. You finally take the keys to your happiness out of the hands of strangers, and you put them securely back in your own pocket.
I love that. And to tie this all together, I want to leave you, the listener, with a final lingering thought to mull over today.
It's a powerful one.
It really is. It builds on the ultimate question posed by all this research. Imagine if the entire audience of your life, every follower, every colleague, every critic, every neighbor, just vanished tomorrow.
Just gone.
Imagine no one would ever know about your next promotion, your next purchase, or your next big achievement. What is the very first thing you would choose to do with your day?
Wow.
Because whatever that is, well, actually, that is the exact place where your true life begins.